BeastNet is brought to you by James Safety Services in partnership with OCR Buddy and OCR Strong. Here we discuss all things OCR and fitness related. Welcome to BeastNet.
Hey everybody, it's Mike at BeastNet here, and today I've got with me Dan Woods. Dan, explain to the audience who you are.
I am Dan Woods. I am the founder and the pretty much kind of from top to bottom HILDERVAT race director, advertiser, advocate, pretty much do it all. I do have help, but you know, there's a lot to do, but that's basically where I am. That's where I find myself now, is really trying to get this this obstacle course race off the ground.
Nice. And then the question I have, and I'm sure the rest of the audience are going to have, tell us where and when is the HILDERVAT?
HILDERVAT is in Florida, and we started out in 2020, which was an awesome year for us. I mean, but you know, it was funny. I was talking with I'll get off on a tangent, but I was talking with one of our partners that we work with, and you know, he was like, hey, you know, we're planting a seed, you know, with some of these things that we're doing, these events that we're putting on. And you know, he's like, might have been better to plant the seed back in 15 or 16 or so. And I was like, well, you know what, I think 2020 kind of killed that tree. You know, so that seed and all that would have been great, but I think, you know, we're all kind of starting over here, so, and really trying to promote the sport and grow it. So so 2020 actually, in retrospect, probably wasn't all that bad to start this thing up. We had some things that worked into our favor by doing that. It was frustrating to have races canceled. We were originally scheduled to be May of 2020. That got canceled. We're in Florida. We do Florida beaches. So our kind of spin on OCR is we do a beach race, and we set our obstacles up. We set about 10 or 15 obstacles up, depending on the course, and we set them up in an oval, and we do a 1 mile oval. We do it 3 times. So you got sand, and then you've got every obstacle 3 times. So, you know, it's one of those things where if you get through it and you say, oh, glad that one's behind me, well, that's coming back up again. So, and we're a completion race too. We don't do burpees or anything like that. We just complete. And if you're in the elite racing for money, we pull your band and, you know, you move on, or you just keep trying till you get it. So, so yeah, so we started out May, we got canceled. We rescheduled for August, we got canceled. And then we finally pulled one off in October of 2020. And then, and that was, again, probably a blessing, because there's a lot, you know, to pull this thing off. So we had a couple of people there, and it worked out good. Probably had the right amount there for us for that race and getting going and everything else. We did that with a 1-day build, and I learned really quickly that that's just too short a time period. So we've got to tie the beach up, but I make sure we do it. We do it on a 2-day build now. So we still have a quick turnaround, a quick build time, but we do it in 2 days. And so then last year we had 3 races. We had our May 22nd race in Jacksonville Beach, which was really cool. I think we were the first OCR out of the gates that year. And then we followed up with St. Cloud in September, and St. Cloud in June. And then we had Daytona Beach at the end of October on Halloween. So, but that May race last year was pretty cool. We had everybody was kind of sitting around. No one was working, you know, no one was racing, no one was doing anything. So we were fortunate, and we took that opportunity to invite 6 of the top male, 6 of the top female athletes, and we had our battle on the beach out there too, which we set up as a tournament with them, and we raced in heats, and went from 6 to 4 to 2 in the final. So then we divvied them all up and had a relay race with everybody. So we had 3 4-person teams, And that was on Sunday, and that was just like the most fun I've ever had at an OCR, and they all said too. So that we all had a great time. That was really, really a blast.
That sounds awesome. That sounds fun. I mean, that's one of the things that, I've really, really harped on the last couple of years, because that's one thing. I mean, you said your one friend said 2015 would have been the better, but not to sound bad. I mean, I don't know about there on the East Coast. I'm over on the West Coast. 2015, we were inundated with different OCRs that no longer exist.
Yeah.
That are gone now. So it's kind of like, I feel like if you would have started in 2015, you might have been one of those ones that hadn't been able to, hopefully would have been one of the ones that made it through it, but
right.
A lot of them did not. And also it could have been one of those things where I've seen some that made it all the way to 2020, but then they had so much cost and everything else behind them that 2020 shutting them down, they didn't have enough built up to survive it. So I think you almost, like you said, it's almost a blessing starting in 2020, because you're starting pretty much in the worst case scenario rather than having the best case and then hitting the worst case. So, yeah. So I think it's good.
Yeah, no, that's a really good point. I mean, and what I've learned, in this, that, every race is different. You really start over. I think that the perception out there is that, hey, if you build it, they'll come, and you can just, put it out there and it'll be good. And if you have a really good race, then the next race is going to be even bigger, and the next race, and it's just not the case. You're really starting over all the time. And, you've got to get that word out. I can't tell you how many times we'll be building, or we'll be setting up on Saturday morning, at 7 o'clock or 7 a.m. or whatever, 7:30, getting ready to go for the race, and people walk up, "What's going on? Oh, I didn't hear about this." It's like the worst words that somebody could say. I didn't hear about it. I'd have done it if I'd heard about it. You always got to be, promoting and working and all that. You haven't got this. Even when you think, I got this, you haven't got this, man. You got to keep it going, and we rely on everybody to come out. So, and what we try to do to do that is we try to, obviously we try to market everything, but we also try to have just a really, really fun race. And we try to make it different and add different stuff to it. One of the cool things about being small like this and nimble, our team, we've done a ton of races as racers. And so we do the stuff like, and we put out obstacles and rigs that, it's like, let's try this out. Where the bigger brands can't really do it. It takes a long time. We can go out there and we can swing on these things and race these things, and we can put them up and keep it fresh, keep it exciting for our racers, our competitors. It's fun.
Yeah, and that's one thing I've really pointed out to a lot of people. I love the local races because it's different. It's, not to say it sound bad, but a lot of the bigger ones, I can do a race here in Washington and do this almost the identical race in Texas.
Yeah,
there's really no difference to it besides the location and maybe some of the terrain. Other than that, I'm looking at the exact same obstacles that I did, and it's possible it's the exact same obstacle I touched in Washington that I'm touching in Texas. So,
aluminum. Yeah. Yeah. And then a lot of it too, it's like, we've got 25 or 30 obstacles, and, 15 or 20 of them are like, that's not really an obstacle, man. I mean, it was just jumping through some mud or something like that. And so, ours, you get 12 or 13 obstacles. They're real. They're the real deal. They're going to be trusses. You're going to test your upper body strength. You're going to do some carries. You're going to do some fun stuff. So, like I said, we've just had some really fun, innovative rigs out there, and you can see them on our website at HILDERVAT.com. You can see video, and we're on YouTube with our races. Last year's Battle on the Beach was we had a film crew out there. We had several of them, and we had a lot of drone footage on those, and really, really is a cool shot. It gives you a good feel for what our race does and the excitement with it, because with that oval, people can come inside and they can watch basically the whole race transform right there. They can see lead changes. They can see They can see the obstacle proficiency of some of the athletes. Obviously, you can see them running, but you know, sometimes it's like there's a gang fight on one of these rigs, right? But it's on the other side of a hill and no one saw it, you know, and the racers are coming back and the athletes are coming back and they go, man, that was crazy out there. Yeah. But nobody saw it. Well, here you're going to see all that. And we've seen some really, really cool races and lead changes and everything else kind of transform right in front of us, especially in the relay race. That's just a crazy cool, you know, event to watch.
Well, yeah, and I think the mandatory completion makes it a definitely interesting thing too, because I've seen a couple races that have had the mandatory completion that for whatever reason, some athlete just gets stuck on one obstacle. And we had one friend on a mandatory completion race. She was second, and all of a sudden, like, she hit one obstacle, and for whatever reason, she just could not get it. And by the time she finally got it, she was like 15th.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it just completely wrecked her. But I mean, she kept going till she finished it because she was not giving up that band. But, you know, I love that.
Yeah, I mean, it happens. You know what you'll see. We build our course for speed. We're not going to try to embarrass somebody out there. You know, it's kind of like the PGA, you know, they're like try to tiger proof a course. We're not going to try to, you know, Atkins proof a course or VJ proof a course, if that's even possible. I think it's possible with those guys, but we're not going to try to do that. We're going to try to make the obstacle fair. It's completable, but the way that you complete it is going to make the difference. So how you attack that obstacle and take chances will increase your efficiency and speed through it. And so now you have a choice to make, right? If you're trying to catch up, trying to put the guy behind you even further, do you skip that bar, skip that ring? You know, do you, you know, how do you attack that rig? And it's pretty cool because you'll see athletes approach it, each obstacle differently a lot of times. And then a lot of times they'll change mid-race and they'll attack it and go through an obstacle a totally different way on maybe say their second or third loop, which is pretty cool to watch.
Yeah, I can see that where you kind of almost, you know, as you're going through it, you'll see in your mind, hey, it probably would have been better if I had done this as I was going through. So the next time through, you're like, oh wait, hey, if I do it this way, it's probably gonna be more efficient. And I mean, it's just
other, you know, and they'll be like, why did I hook my heel? I could just like swung through that. Or why did I grab that? You know, why did I grab that rope like that? I could have just swung right past it and, you know, jumped to the net. So yeah, it's pretty cool to watch.
That is, I bet that's awesome. And like I said, I like the mandatory completion just because I feel like on some of the other races where I've seen where there's the competitors going, you get people that use in their mind, they're like, they know they're fast enough at burpees and a fast enough runner that they can just basically touch the obstacle, know they're going to fail it anyway, and run over, do their, you know, their burpees or their penalty, whatever penalty that race brand has, and then like take off, and they know their speed's going to help them. Yeah. But this takes that away, and it's like, no, you actually have to have the all around athleticism to do everything. You know, I know that's not going to work in like a lead. I mean, it's like you said, you got Atkinson and those guys who are going to be like, you know, they can do the obstacle and have the speed. So they're the all around. And that's what I think that completion makes people have to be the all around.
Yeah. And, you know, our philosophy is it's an obstacle race. It's not a road race. I mean, you know, running is a big part of it, but obstacle efficiency, especially in our race, can make a difference. And I've seen it. I've seen that happen. I raced in the age group national championships in Jacksonville here last weekend before last, and there was an obstacle. They made that what we call that you know, peanut butter mud in Jacksonville, and it was a long kind of slog through it. And right on the other end of it was a Z wall. And I had raced on the Super on Saturday, and it was bad, and the mud was even worse on Sunday. And it took me forever to get through the Z wall without falling because it was just covered in mud. So yeah, I mean, I tactically ran up to it on Sunday, touched the obstacle and went and did my burpees. And, you know, a lot of the guys in my age group, you know, I caught up to, or they tried to attempt it, took them so long, or they eventually fell anyway and had to do their burpees. That, yeah, I mean, it was a tactical decision, you know, but you're not gonna be able to do that. You're not gonna be able to do that at HILDERVAT. You have to complete it all. So.
And that's what's good. That's what I love about those ones is, like I said, I've been a huge advocate for the completion, because it's one of those that I feel like it shows the true athleticism in someone.
Yeah.
You know, the fact that they can run and do the obstacles. And that's where I think obstacle course racing should be. I think it should be a completion. Not to say that I can complete every obstacle, but I don't run competitive very often. I do a little bit here and there now that I've lost the weight, but you know, it's still one of those ones. I know at the where I'm at, I know I'm not at a position where I'm going to compete, but I can at least be middle ground in the competitive races. So, you know, but I make sure to do it.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, you know, when you get to the open heats, you know, or even in age groups or the competitive where we race, we have those heats in our race as well. But you know, maybe you don't take that chance, right? Because a slip at those other events is 3 minutes and you're done in a sprint. You know, at competitive level. So you may not maybe not take the chance. Where in our race, you know, a slip, a foot drag, you know, a miss, you just go back and do it again. So it may not even cost you that, but you may learn something about how to get that through that thing faster. So it rewards you for taking chances instead of prohibits you from taking those chances. Because you head to the burpee pit, you know, that's the worst thing that can happen. And so you'll maybe take that extra time instead of trying to swing through it and go as fast as you can.
Yeah, no, and I agree with that. That's one of the things I've just seen a lot, where it's just kind of like, okay, I'm just gonna go straight to the burpees. It's like, no, go ahead and try, at least attempt it, you know. But it's one of those, I know it's gonna slow me down because I'm gonna miss anyway, so I might as well just run straight to the burpees.
Or the opposite, where you're like, I'm not going to try to skip that ring or jump to that or take that chance because I might slip. And so you don't try that kind of crazy, cool, athletic move that you might be able to do, but you don't dare do it because you can't. And especially when you get into those elite athletes, you'll see them do some things on our obstacles that they would probably never attempt it at other races, just because, you know, they're like, hey, worst case scenario, I just have to go back. You know, it's only going to cost me 30 seconds.
Yeah. It's not a bad, and like I said, that's one of the things I've always been a huge advocate for that. So, you know, it's one of those that every race is their own, but you know, so what made you decide to do this? I know you said you decided in like 2020 to go for it, but what was the thought process behind just, you know, doing your own version?
Yeah, so I had been racing for a while. I had done a whole bunch of stuff, been athletic, you know, done a lot of stuff over the years. I was in the Navy. I was a Navy rescue swimmer. I did road races and I raced triathlons, and I got into OCR, and man, I just loved it. Everything kind of came together. So, and I love the community, and it was kind of what we're talking about. I just thought that there were certain race brands that I really, really liked racing, and there was others that not so much. And I kind of raced every type of race out there. And I just thought, you know, a couple things kind of occurred to me. It's like, we have a big disadvantage in Florida because we don't have any mountains, and all these championship races are in the mountains. And I'm like, but you know, what we do have is sand, and the beach is, you know, the beach is tough to run on. Sand is horrible. It's really, really hard. And I'm like, nobody's racing on it. No one's running on it. And I think we should. And I just thought that it would be a really fun thing to do, to put a obstacle dense, explosive oval race on the beach, and you can hang out and go to the beach and race and just, have a beer afterwards and just have fun and spend the day instead of being out on some cold, muddy mountain that no one wants to do, no one wants to see, and you want to get the hell out of there as soon as you're done.
Oh, I agree. That sounds like the race. I'm glad my wife's not here to hear us talk about this. Well, maybe not, because that might be my reason to go. Because that's her biggest problem. Like, we've done, some of the races out in the mountains, everything else, and she's like, it's cold, it sucks, and I hate you.
Yeah, I don't want to go.
Yeah, but the beach, she'd be like, cool, we can go. I'm gonna sit on the beach and just watch you do this because you're stupid. But because she loves the beach. I mean,
yeah. And we did. I really, really wanted to include the kids in my races, but it's tough because you're limited on space at the beach, and you got to watch tides and everything else, and sea turtles, and there's all kinds of stuff going on, other people laying around at the beach. So you've got to be, the footprint can't be huge. We tried our first race, we tried doing out and back on 3 miles, and our sandbags washed away overnight, but I want to do the kids race, but I couldn't really put another course in there. So we decided to use the regular adult rigs, the full course. We canceled the out and backs for the kids, just the loop. We closed the course down, but we let them come out there with their parents, or their uncle, or whoever's out there going. And so these kids and families basically took over the course. They could help them up, and they can get them, and it was so fun. I mean, it was just super awesome. And I don't think there's anybody else doing that where they can all go out there at the same time. A lot of the kids races, they put this stuff over there, and it's really not that fun for, it's really not that challenging for them. And they're kind of off away, and the parents are alongside of them. Well, go out there with them and enjoy it, and let the family go out and do it. So we had such a blast doing that in Daytona that we decided to do a kids and family only race. So we're doing a full race dedicated to kids and families. That's coming up this month, March 26th. And we're super excited about it because it's the funnest. It's just so fun. Yeah.
Sounds fun. That's always been the best. I mean, I unfortunately get into OCR until my kids were older. So my youngest has done multiple OCRs with me. In fact, he got to do Battle Frog before they died. Before they shut down. But I didn't, because I actually had a broken foot. I broke my foot, and he actually took my registration and ran it. And then I ended up never being able to do it because they shut down before I got a chance to actually race, because they only came up to Washington, I think, once or twice. So, and that's the hard part. Being up in Washington, we don't get as many as everyone else. That's why, most likely in this time next year, I'll be leaving Washington. But, I don't. Like Florida, my wife would love to go to Florida. She loves Florida. She loves the Gulf Coast. She loves, or actually both sides of Florida.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
She wants out of Washington. She's tired of the cold. So she loves Hawaii. She loves Washington. Texas is another place she looks at a lot. So, I mean, it's one of those that, she'd love to be down there for that. So this is a race I could convince her to go for. So not to race it, but to watch.
Yeah. And, it is pretty, we call it the destination race, because you can come, you can race, we'll get discounts and room deals at the hotel right on the beach. So you stay beachfront, you walk out, there's the course in front of you from your balcony. You walk down, you race it, you spend the day at the beach with the family, spend the weekend there. It's just a lot of fun. So, and we're like, hey, have a few beverages afterwards. You deserve it. We're going to have a free beer and a nice festival area, and then just walk on back to your hotel room. So it is definitely that destination race where you're not leaving everybody behind to go indulge your, race issues. You can go and bring everybody along. So it's fun.
See, and that sounds amazing, because that's the one big thing. Like, for the longest time, I know there's other people out there that are a lot like me, where I love to race. I love to go out and do that. I love to do races. My wife, not so much. Like,
right.
I've got her to do one 5K in like the last year and a half, and that's only because it was a hot chocolate, and they had hot chocolate afterwards. So that was really it. And even then, she's like, "Yeah, this is stupid," But an OCR, no, she hasn't done them in years, and she's like, "No, but it's just not my thing." So whenever we go on a trip, it's always like, "Okay, we have to make this a vacation because that's the only way it's fair.
Well, this way, it's for sure. And so this way, it's like, hey, we're going to the beach. It's like, oh, there happens to be a race here. I'll see you in 30 minutes, 45 minutes. I'm going to go do my thing. And it's like, and they get to watch dad, and you get to watch your significant other go out there and race too, which is a lot of fun. And you get to see the whole race. So it's pretty cool as a spectator. And we don't charge for spectators or anything. We want people to kind of hang out and watch it and come inside the oval and check it out.
Nice.
Yeah.
That is awesome. So when are the dates? So I know we've been talking about the different races. And I know you said you have a couple. You got one coming up this month. So when are the rest of them?
Yeah, so March 26th, our kids and family race, and that's going to be on a half-mile loop. We'll run it twice for the kids, or however many times they want to. They can do it once or twice or whatever. Then we're going to be back in Jacksonville Beach on May 21st, same as last year. And then we will be in St. Cloud, which is Orlando. It's a little city outside of Orlando, and that's on a lake. And so this is a really cool event. That's going to be in September 17th. We did it last year there. This venue's phenomenal. We have a lake with a sand beach on it. We set up obstacles on the beach. We run the beach a little bit. Then we go out through a track, a wide trail run. So you get to trail run, then you come back into the beach, and then we set obstacles because that lake's about 2 feet deep, 2.5 feet deep, like half a mile out. We put rope climb and several obstacles out in the middle of the lake. And so when you're at the start line, you look out and you're like, I got to swim to it. It's like, you got to get to it, but it's about waist deep by the time you get there. But we put a couple obstacles out in the lake. We had a bucket carry through the lake, and then we had obstacles out in the lake too. So that was fun. So, and to me, it's like, I've done all those venues, I've done trail offs, I've done beach, I've done some water type stuff too, but never at one race. So and so that was a lot of fun. We'll be back in St. Cloud on September 17th, and then we'll be back in Daytona Beach, which is a phenomenal venue as well. It's a big wide beach. It's iconic. The hotel is right there. It's just super, super fun time. That's November 5th, which is everyone's kind of in winter, cold race mode, but it's 75 degrees there in November almost all the time in Daytona. So you kind of get that spring race in and get out of the cold if you're up in the cold. So those are 3 venues we've got going on. And then I'm going to try to do, if we don't do it this year, I'm definitely going to get that on this year, where we do a relay race championship weekend, where we just bracket everybody up and put them in relay races, and you run multiple races, but it's a relay race. So it's just a quarter mile on the obstacles, and then hand off your timing chip to your teammate. And we'll do teams of 4 and run that relay race because it's so exciting and super cool.
Well, that sounds fun. I mean, it's one thing I love hearing different ideas. The St. Cloud one sounds amazing to me. It's in the water and all that kind of stuff. That's one I wish I could be there, but you said September 17th. I think I'm doing a triathlon that weekend, but that's the big thing I'm training for this year, is I'm doing one of the bigger triathlons. So, but that sounds amazing. I mean, it'd be so much fun. I've done one race before where they had a log carry through a swamp. Yeah. So I could imagine, what a bucket carry would be like through the lake. I mean, it's just, and that's the kind of ideas that I love.
I mean, it saps you, and then you got to run it twice. So yeah, it's really fun, and it's really cool to get that different feel. I know that, for me, if I go, that's a big part of it, that venue, if you can get, and the trail's awesome. So, I mean, you get a little of everything, and it's like, you feel like you've had that's just pretty satisfying, fulfilling race when you get to kind of go all over the place. And what I like about it too, is it's a challenge for athletes, because you've got to kind of be ready for anything at HILDERVAT. And I think that I get a lot of feedback that way. People are like, I saw this as a 5K, so I didn't really think that much of it. It's like, I got to train for this one next time. I mean, it's like, cause now I'm like at 35, 36 obstacles. It's upper body, it's carries. I got to go through everything twice. I'm in the sand, and then here I was in the water and in the trail. So it's like, you got to be ready. So yeah, it's a day at the beach, but it's some work, man. You're gonna have to get through it and you can get on it. So it's fun. It's good. We enjoy it.
And that's what like I said, that's what I like about a lot of the smaller races. You have the bigger brands that have that, cookie cutter type race, where this is something completely different, where, the water, people don't think of how much the water can zap you. Like you were saying, I've done one before where they had it in, like, for 3 years in rows, and you had to jump in the river and you went downstream. And then all of a sudden one year they're like, we're going to run this course backwards, and we had to go up. And it's like, oh, no big deal. We hit that upstream, and all of a sudden it's just over knee deep. So you can't lift your feet out of the water, and you're just slogging through that. And my legs are on fire. And I'm like,
yeah, there go the quads.
This is brutal. Yeah, this is brutal. And people forget that water will get you. Yeah.
Yeah. That's awesome. I mean, it's all, that's what we love. It's just all about that new challenge and doing something different, and something to talk about, something to build on.
Do you like the BeastNet? Do you want to keep hearing it? Be sure to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and more at BeastNet Pod.
A lot of people ask about the name, HILDERVAT. What did you come up with? What is that about?
Well, you beat me to that question, because that was going to be my next one.
Well, because you brought it up with water, and that's what it means. It's Old Norse. Hilder means battle, vat means water. So it's what we are, the water battle. So we're going to always incorporate a little bit of, that's that rescue swimmer in me. It's like, we're going to incorporate a little bit of water in there and get you wet, and does pose those challenges, like you said.
It does, because like I said, it's a whole new challenge. And like I said, that was one of my biggest issues with a lot of the other brands, was it got to a point that there's nothing really different, than the last ones. I mean, it's still fun, don't get me wrong, but it's still one of those things, like, it's a lot of those brands that, OCR is supposed to be about getting out of your comfort zone. And it's gotten to a point with a lot of them where it's like, okay, OCR has become my comfort zone. Right. So, and that's one of the reasons why I started looking at triathlon. I'm like, this is kind of my comfort zone. But then I've been doing some of the more local, smaller races, and I'm like, oh, this is not my, now I'm out of my comfort zone, because these aren't the obstacles that I'm used to.
Yeah,
these are challenging. These are different.
How cool is it when you get an obstacle, right, and you struggle with it? You struggle with it, and you work and you work and you work, and then you complete it, and you accomplish it, right? That's really kind of what it's about, right? That's what keeps you coming back and keeps you going. And unless you're, innovative and stuff, and you're working on new things, it only takes, really, it kind of, for most of our, it's only going to take a race or two, and you're gonna conquer this thing. And then, where's the challenge? To your point, then you should have a little bit of butterfly. You should be looking at our map and going, ooh, it says rig, but I know they always put ropes or nets or something on there. You know what I mean? Or what's the low rig? Oh, you got to crawl upside down on this thing, rope climb. Oh, you're going to have a rope climb. You're going to have several rope climbs. You're going to be all over. I mean, we're going to have ropes. You're going to see it all, rings, everything. So, and you'll probably see it all on one rig.
Yeah.
At a time. So yeah, we like to mix it up and make it fun.
Which is what it should be. And I mean, that's kind of thing, a lot of them, that's where the big push. And like I said, like 2015, I think, is when up here, at least, it really hit. And there was the big push. And that's what was so cool is, you go to one place and there's this obstacle you've never seen before, and like, oh, what's this? But then you may never see it again, but you may see it at the next race. And, now it seems like, a lot of, like I said, the bigger ones, it's like, okay, well, here's the obstacle I did last week, halfway across the country. Now I'm going to do it again here. So,
and like we talked about, and some of those obstacles are like, that's not an obstacle. I mean,
yeah,
it's like, I'm walking through this thing, so it's like, it's more like a bump. It's more like a speed bump than an obstacle. Yeah. So we try to make it, something that you'll only see at an obstacle course race.
Yeah. And I've done a couple local ones around here that's that way, where all of a sudden, there are obstacles that they're not easy, but they're not unpassable, if that makes sense. Anyone can really do them, but you're going to have to work at it.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. So it's not completely impassable, but it's going to be, because there's some that I've seen on some of these. It's like, okay, yeah, you have to be an elite racer to even attempt this one. But the most of the ones that I see, like the local ones, like anybody can do it. It's just not going to be easy.
Yeah. And you can set your race up to where you just crush people. I mean, you can set up upper body stuff back to back to back to back to back. We don't do that. We try to mix it up. We want you to have that recovery in between. We want you to complete the obstacle. We just want you to know that you did something when you were done with it. You know what I mean? You had to set your mind. You had to have the grip strength coming in. You knew if you were, kind of overlooking this race or not thinking that much about it, that you in course, you're going to realize I did not prepare properly for this one. But by the same token, you're going to come back and go, it was totally fair. It wasn't like, made you jump from bar to bar and it was 15 feet across. It's not something silly that's going to be like, I might be able to do that, but I'll probably get hurt doing it. You're going to be able to do it, but you need to prepare for it, and you need to come in. And then when you are done with it, you're feeling really good. That beer tastes really good.
Oh yeah. And that's, like I said, what sounds amazing. I mean, this sounds like one that I would love to do. But like I said, it just sounds amazing. And that's what I love about these. It's different.
Yeah, it is. And again, it's all about the fun for us, but winning is fun, but also completion is fun, and also going to the beach is fun, and hanging out with friends and seeing people and gathering together and having that community. It's all fun. So we try to, incorporate all that, and we try to make sure everybody has a good time. You'll get a really nice shirt. You'll get a really nice medal too. We don't skimp on that, on the good stuff there. We pay out prize money. We're $500 for first, $250 for second, $150 for third, plus $150 for the Masters winners, male and female. And our relay race is $600, $400, and $200. So we pay good prize money. We have good photographers. Heather Powell Photography comes out and and she's a phenomenal OCR photographer. She make you look ripped. It's awesome. She catches everybody. She's amazing. And then we just have we have good folks at our festival area. Riverbend CBD has been a good partner with us. And so, you got your recovery there too. And I try to get as many good partners and folks that can come in and help the athletes. And that's really kind of what I encourage, is like, let the athletes and the race and the sponsors really kind of come together and work together, and you're all part of the community. So we've had some really good partnerships with some local gyms. Our Get It Core Fitness guys here is a local gym. Joe Rivera, who's just highlighted on the age group video. Nice. Yeah, he's a local legend, and he runs Get It Core Fitness, and they're a OCR training gym, and they do a fantastic job, and they take every podium every time they go. Our Training for Warriors is with the youth and other kids we've been partnering with too. So we have a lot of really good, we have a local restaurant, Sand Dollar, that comes out, and so we have a lot of good partnerships that we work with, and we're trying to build on that and get the brands going and help each other out. And like I said, it's all about kind of coming together as a community, and getting back out and racing and training and everything. That really, what I try to do is just highlight all that, what's good about OCR and what's good about sport and what's good about what we do. So, and I've never experienced that in any other type of racing, triathlon, road racing, anything else. The challenge is there, but man, the community here, you'll get a few in some of those, you get some pockets and you get some good teams, racing teams, but boy, you can just show up at an OCR race and you can feel the love. It's awesome.
Yeah, which is the biggest thing why I've always loved OCR was because of that. So they've always had the best community, where the other ones have, like you said, you'll have teams and pockets, but you don't have that, that community that you get, on the OCR. So
yeah. We're working with there's a great event coming up too. And it's with the folks at GoRuck. Jason McCarthy's put on in Jacksonville. And so he's teaming up with GoRuck, Savage Race, and Rogue, and they're going to do 3 days of just a phenomenal event. There's going to be some rucking. There's going to be 15K, 10K, and a 15K. Rogue's going to do they're going to be part of it where you're going to do WODs, and there's going to be a Savage race set up there too. A bunch of speakers and everything. And this is all about just trying to get more involvement in the sport altogether, especially OCR, and kind of trying to cross through those. So that's coming up here in Jacksonville in April 22nd through 24th. We're really excited about that. We'll be out there with our axe throw obstacles. So you can try out throwing the axe, which you'll see in all of our races. It's one of our signature obstacles. So we're excited about that, but that really kind of falls into what we're talking about with this community and growing the sport as a whole. So yeah, working with other brands, always happy to do it and happy to cross promote. Like I always say, it's like we're not going to have a race at the beach on every weekend when someone else is there. You know what I mean? Just never. I mean, we're not going to cross paths, so there may be a race a few hundred miles away, but we're just never going to be at the same beach on the same date. So and most people aren't doing beach races, beach OCRs anyway, so it's a whole different thing. So and like I said, it's like, hey, I love to do the mountains, I love to do the mud, not really, but I do it. And so we're different. We're a little different spin on it. So come check us out, see if you like it. We hope you do. We think you will. And we look forward to seeing you at the start line. Yeah.
And it sounds amazing. So, I mean, anyone who's listening, I mean, definitely get out there and do that. So we're kind of running out of time. Is there anything else you want to say to the listeners? I mean, it's been amazing talking to you, and I really want to get down there for one of those races, but what would you say to everyone in closing about, HILDERVAT?
Yeah, so HILDERVAT, it's the water battle. It's a beach destination race. Come on out and hit our really exciting obstacles in the oval. Spend the day at the beach, race, hit the course a couple different times. Come inside, watch the whole races. Just a really fun, spectator-friendly, explosive race on the beach, man. What a great atmosphere and what a great time. So hope to have you out. And the more people come out and the more they do it, I'm dedicated, motivated. I will put it back in to the race, and we'll do some double decker obstacles, and we'll do a rock concert with the race. And I mean, whatever, let's just have some fun and do it. And I'll do it. Let's get the folks out, and we'll build it. Yeah.
And that's what it should be. It should be all about the fun. And that's, I think some of the other race brands have forgot that, so it's got to be about the fun. Without the fun, without the community of OCR, it doesn't exist. The racing is only half of it. The community is what makes it the rest, so that keeps coming back.
Exactly. The racing's just, that's kind of that motivation. Hey, I got this race coming up. I'm going to stay in my training. I'm going to work for it. But yeah, it's all about seeing friends, and it's all about the fun side of it too. It's a lifestyle really. And here to help promote it and grow it and just having fun, man.
Oh yeah. Right on. Well, it's been great talking to you, Dan, and hopefully I'll be able to see you soon down there in Florida.
Yeah, appreciate it, Mike. It was great kind of meeting you at the here, and love to have you down. Let me know, and it's a long travel for you, so we'll help you out with what we can on the race and getting your foot up and all that good stuff. So love to see you.
That sounds great. All right. Thank you.
Yeah, take care.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to the BeastNet podcast. If you haven't done it yet, find us on Facebook, like and share the podcast. Give us a review on iTunes or Spotify. All these things will help to expand the show in the future. Don't forget to subscribe and let us know what you think and what you'd like to hear.